Mr. Chairman. I'm Harrison Keller. I'm Deputy to the President for Strategy and Policy at UT Austin. And thank you for the invitation to share our work on Texas OnCourse, on the progress that's been made, the collaborations that have been formed, and our development plans. So last session, House Bill 18 charged UT Austin to develop online training for counselors and advisors and online resources and tools for middle school students and their families, especially to support the implementation of House Bill 5. This initiative is called Texas OnCourse. The core purpose of this work is to provide reliable, high-quality learning experiences that can help streamline student pathways to college and career success. This isn't just an initiative of UT Austin. I want to emphasize that we're working closely with a strong network across the state, including counselors, employers, colleges, other universities, nonprofits, and other stakeholders. And in particular, collaborations with TEA, with the Coordinating Board, and with the Workforce Commission are essential to this work. And each commissioner sits on our Executive Advisory Board. And I want to acknowledge the strong partnerships since the commissioners here with TEA and also with Coordinating Board and Workforce Commission. Over the last 17 years that I've been working on public education, higher education policy in Texas, I haven't seen this level of collaboration and cooperation among the agencies. And so I'm deeply appreciative on behalf of the university, but excited about the potential. So Texas OnCourse includes three major strands of work. So it has online competency-based training for counselors and advisors, online resources for middle school students and their families, and then robust data analytics, evaluation, and research that help power new resources for students and for educators and to help us improve the work. I'd like to briefly walk you through each of these three strands of work and to discuss any questions or recommendations you might have. First, on the online training for counselors and advisors, to give you an idea of the products that are in development, I'd like to show a 2-minute video which demonstrates how users will access the online modules and also provides a preview of what they'll experience.
In this video, we will demonstrate how to access the Texas OnCourse modules and take a look at the learning experience for the user. To promote ease of access, educators can log in to the Texas OnCourse modules from both the Texas OnCourse website and TEA's Texas Gateway. Upon logging in, learners are directed to a dashboard where relevant information is stored, including new learning and networking opportunities, progress on module completion, and a place to bookmark their favorite resources. Let's take a look at the areas of focus for the Texas OnCourse modules. Texas OnCourse offers educators online learning opportunities to improve their post-secondary, career, and financial aid advising skills. Our fall pilot will include lessons in post-secondary and financial aid advising. Within each area of focus, you can see the learning path of a potential user. We will dive into the FAFSA module to uncover what the user will experience. Here you can see the course outline, including all of the units contained within the module. The content within each module meets required accessibility standards and is responsive to your screen size, regardless of whether you're on a tablet, mobile phone, or personal computer. Learners are introduced to the content and then proceed to the pre-assessment, which determines their learning path. The most experienced counselors may advance further in the learning path based on the results in the pre-assessment. In other words, experts who know the content well can skip ahead to the areas they need to focus on, in recognition of their extremely demanding schedules. Throughout the module, we present information using evidence-based multimedia learning theories. Here, learners click to reveal instructions for completing the FAFSA, allowing them to compare different parental situations and focus on what is important. In addition to these features, we have incorporated high-quality videos from our partners and filmed custom content to fill the gaps. The modules also include scenario-based branching activities, think choose your own adventure, and case studies to offer authentic learning experiences and allow learners to gain valuable, practical solutions to their real-life challenges and issues in advising. This innovative and interactive approach to professional development meets participants where they are, allows for personalized learning, and contributes to the Texas OnCourse goal to streamline student pathways to college and career success across Texas. Learn more at texasoncourse.org.
Thank you. So as you saw in the video, so we're planning to leverage the investment that TEA's made in the Texas Gateway. So our competency-based modules will be deployed in the Gateway. We're also extending the capabilities of that platform so it can support competency-based education and badging or micro-credentialing so that we can track educators' achievements. The training will be accessible also from texasoncourse.org, which is live now and already includes a curation of some college and career resources from state agencies and other providers. This next month, we'll release a more user-driven design for the website so that the resources can be presented as they are now by topic or as more of a timeline for students and parents and educators. So as a general principle, one of the things I want to emphasize is that both for the content of the modules and for the online tools we're linking to, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we're working closely with our partners, including the Texas Counseling Association, the College Board, ACT, NCAA, and Federal Student Aid, so to ensure that all the modules are going to include the most up-to-date, best-in-class content, and it's all available in one place. So it's a one-stop shop for training and for tools. We have a number of different advisory committees for the initiative. It includes an executive advisory committee and an employer advisory committee. Our content advisory committee is composed of counselors, advisors, administrators, nonprofit leaders, and that provides ongoing guidance to us as we vet content. We've also conducted a number of focus groups across the state and held meetings in districts and service centers across all 20 regional service areas. And then we conducted an initial needs assessment and got input from over 1,500 counselors and administrators across the state. Later this month, we're going to release a report just on that initial surveys. I'll say as an aside, one of the things that came up pretty strongly in that initial survey is that although there are a number of portals or a number of websites that the state's developed and that you can find on state agency websites, there was very little awareness or use of almost all of these tools. So one of the things that we're thinking about and working on with our partners is how to make sure that these resources aren't just yet another portal or a set of online resources that don't really get used. Our module production is well underway. It'll eventually include about 25 modules, and next month we'll have 8 modules within post-secondary and financial aid advising. So for each of these modules, they're subjected to multiple rounds of testing. So we have sort of a rough cut that we'll do initial testing with, and then we roll out a beta test to 200 counselors and get their feedback on user experience and on the content quality and on the relevance. The beta test that we'll launch in February will include modules related to the FAFSA, to the Texas version, the TAFSA, Apply Texas, and also the common application. So we've prioritized these content areas for 2 reasons. One, because the topics align better with the calendar for counselors. So the deadlines for financial aid and college applications are beginning earlier in the fall. And then second, after we launched Texas OnCourse, the governor announced the Tri-Agency Workforce Initiative, which focused on assessing economic activity and considering innovative approaches to meet the state's workforce needs. So we want to stay closely aligned with this work, and we've designed our production schedule to align with the information that will be coming from that work in early spring about the state needs for different kinds of credentials and occupations. So in early spring 2017, we'll release a larger pilot, and that'll include additional modules that will be released to 2,000 counselors across the state. And just for context, we have roughly about 10,000 counselors across the state. So we'll have the pilot with 2,000, and then again, the feedback from that pilot will be incorporated into changes before the full-scale launch of Texas OnCourse resources in August 2017, so when we hit that professional development cycle for the next school year. For the spring pilot, we're also working with our evaluator, the American Institutes of Research, to design and evaluate different evidence-based approaches to paying stipends, to paying the incentives. So there's different approaches the states use. Generally, these aren't really validated. It's either paying somebody for attending training or something that might include paying somebody for participating in particular kind of workshops, that kind of thing. So we want to test some different approaches and try to link that more to outcomes if we can. So on the second strand of work, on middle school resources, we have about 462 certified counselors for every student in Texas. So the online resources for the middle school students are a unique and important opportunity for us to inform and support students directly. 13 and 14-year-olds in the state, as you know, are asked to make some important decisions about endorsement selections and graduation plans. So we have a three-pronged approach for our middle school resources to help support them and their parents. First, we plan to release an online tool for students that will help advise them step by step on their decisions about endorsement selections and graduation plans. And that'll include concrete information about course taking requirements at their own high schools. Second, to help inform students about the decisions that they have to make, and ideally to inform conversations that they have with their counselors. We're working with MIT and with the Institute for Applied Neuroscience and an Austin-based development firm to design a game-based learning opportunity. So the game we're working on will draw on data sourced from the Department of Labor and from the Texas Workforce Commission, and it's essentially being designed to help middle school students understand the interactions among different kinds of educational opportunities, different kinds of skills, and different kinds of job opportunities. So for middle school students, one of the things we're concerned about, given what we know about adolescent brain development, is just presenting information to middle school students is basically noise. So how do we engage them and not just provide another website with accurate but impenetrable information? And so there's been some great research on using gaming to try to cue and engage students around complex topics. And we're actually testing this week a paper prototype of the game here in Austin with middle school students. We are also designing educator resources to accompany the gameplay so that counselors, teachers, parents, and their peers can have better informed conversations about students' interests and their career pathways. The third thing we're working on for middle school students is we're working closely with the Workforce Commission and the Coordinating Board to develop new tools to help visualize information about job opportunities and educational pathways. So it's not just presented as more bar graphs and tables, but try to visualize what the pathways into different kinds of occupations might look like. So that's a good segue to talk about the third strand of Texas OnCourse, which is designed to leverage the wealth of educational and workforce data to power new tools and drive improvement in the online resources and the training that we're providing. So as the committee knows, we have incredibly robust data in Texas in our primary and secondary and in our post-secondary educational programs and our students, and also workforce data. Due to challenges in the structures of the data and complexities around data access, interpretation, the data is really not being used to its full capability. So to help power the applications we're working on and to help strengthen the state's educational data infrastructure, we're working closely with the Coordinating Board and with the Texas Advanced Computing Center at UT Austin. This is where we have the supercomputers and the Data Visualization Center to build a new relational database. So it should make it far easier to work with this state data, and also where we can develop new data tools and apps for counselors, for other educators, and for the public that sit on top of that data. So for example, we're testing right now some tools which use historical student data and college admissions data to predict the probability of admissions to different Texas institutions for different student characteristics. We also established the Texas OnCourse Research Consortium, working closely with the Coordinating Board to support some targeted analysis of student readiness and pathways from middle school through careers. And we're securing additional National Student Clearinghouse data on Texas students out of state college enrollments and completions that will be added into the state Education Research Center data. So we'll use this NSC data so we can create data visualizations that display college destinations of high school graduates, including out-of-state enrollment patterns that we don't currently have in the Texas data. The American Institutes for Research, again, is our third-party evaluator, and they're going to assist in development of valid and reliable assessments of the counselor's knowledge and skills. We want to tie that to outcomes as much as possible. Like, for example, we don't just want counselors to work through modules on advising for endorsements. We would also want to look at that against the data that we get back from the middle school resources to see if we see changes and improvement in the kinds of choices that students are making and how they're interacting with the resources. So in summary, we're at UT Austin very excited to work on this important issue. And as you directed, we're not organizing Texas on Course like a typical state initiative. We're working in close partnership and with input from TEA, from the coordinating board, the Workforce Commission, employers, colleges and universities, counselors, advisors, and students around the state. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're incorporating best-in-class technology and existing online resources so we can focus our development on filling in the gaps and in pulling it together. All the online resources we'll be providing through Texas On Course are going to be secure, accessible, and also responsive so they can be used on multiple devices. So a lot of students are going to be more inclined to access resources on their phones versus a browser, for example. So we want to be able to meet students where they are as much as possible. I will say we've heard from our national partners just in the last week that House Bill 18 set the stage for the most comprehensive effort they've seen anywhere in the country to develop next generation training and resources for counselors and for college and career advisors and for middle school students. And so again, we're very excited to work on it. The last point I'll make is that just to emphasize again that we've also designed the initiative so it not only can deliver on our core message, but also so can it help extend and enhance the state's capabilities in terms of online learning platforms, data systems, and also the tools for visualizing student pathways. And so the infrastructure will be able to be used by TEA, the Coordinating Board, Workforce Commission, and other colleges and universities, partner organizations, public schools across the state. The infrastructure should also help reduce costs and strengthen evaluations of future state initiatives so we can actually validate some of the advice that we're giving our educators and students and also help inform the policy decisions of the legislature. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you and look forward to the discussion.